Seasoner
and Co.
I would like to begin with an apology, if I may.
Okay.
Because listening back through some of the editing, I realised at one point I mentioned the English town of Bath, and you were surprised that there was a town called Bath. And I think my response was that I've read several stories set in Bath.
Mm-hmm.
You then apologised... Nala, what are you doing?
She's getting herself back into the room. Is what she's doing. Oh, come here. You know how long it took me to put together this Lego?
I mean, look, of all the things she could destroy, Lego is probably the best of those options. You just build it again.
Nala is being ejected from the room just saying she was too naughty.
I'd say, is it okay? But I mean, it's Lego, not a real plant.
It's not a real plant.
And the real plant next to it seems utterly unperturbed, so... But to finish the apology, when I mentioned Bath, you apologised for not having remembered any stories we'd had about Bath. And that is totally unwarranted, because I realised I had never actually read out a story on the podcast about Bath. I just read them to myself. So I apologise for making you feel like you have had any lesser amount of attention paid. And it's entirely my fault.
I recall you saying that, but I had long since let it go, just so you know.
Yeah, this is months ago now.
Although I do have like an exceptionally good memory, and when it gets challenged like that, I do wonder.
I know, God, I was very impressed when last fortnight you made a callback to our second episode.
Yeah, I actually have a frustratingly good memory of. It's like that type of memory where I'll remember something that from like a while ago that like you may have said, and you'd be like, it's like, did I say that? I was like, yeah, I swear you did. No. Sorry, anyway.
I know the feeling. Do you remember the intro?
I do.
Because it's been a while. Welcome to
Second-Hand Haunting,
where we read ghost stories out of a second-hand book I found in a second-hand shop and try and make sense of them.
Fun of them.
Sense of them.
Fun of them.
Sense of them.
Fun of them.
Sense of them, sense of them, sense of them today.
Oh, what fun to make fun of them on a long white
after these
open
ghosts
sleigh.
have passed away.
Yay.
Well, Ollie, welcome to the Christmas episode of Secondhand Haunting.
I think we did pretty well with that intro considering we had zero practice.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit messy, but hey, this whole podcast is... You may remember months and months and months ago. In fact, I think just after last Christmas, I discovered that there was a Christmas story in True Irish Ghost Stories by John Seymour and Harry Neligan. So I've been sitting on this Christmas story.
Ho, 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 ho.
For...
That's what I like to have on my lap.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Bad joke?
Buckle up, boys and girls. Everyone's on Ollie's naughty list. Well, in the intervening months, one of the new books that I bought while on holiday also has a Christmas story in it.
Lovely.
So I'll let you pick. Would you like to do a story from the new book or Good Old Faithful?
Well, I want to hear a Christmas story from Good Old Faithful.
Okay, thank you. Because I've had this one sitting on the shelf for so long, I just want to get to it.
Like an elf?
Hey.
I'm not sure if you know this about me, Callum, but I love Christmas.
Yeah?
Yep, I do. Absolutely. It's not a love of the religious aspect of Christmas. It's the
potential for a visitation of 3 ghosts.
Yes, absolutely. That
4, actually.
I mean, that's only happened to me twice so far, though. Visited by the 3 ghosts. Been trying to be better.
The ghost of Christmas rum, the ghost of Christmas eggnog, and the ghost of Christmas...
Well, wine is my Christmas drink.
Okay, that'll do.
Red wine, you know, red like Christmas.
Nightcap.
Yeah, I love Christmas movies. I love Christmas Doctor Who episodes.
Oh, there's going to be another one of those coming, or by the time this episode goes out, has been.
Oh, they stopped doing them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I rewatched I've repeated the old ones.
Oh, I think you've just ruined my Christmas. Is there not going to be a Doctor Who Christmas episode this
No,
year?
they started doing New Year's episodes.
Ah, I see.
Which is lovely, but not the same.
It's not, is it?
Well, not when you like Christmas.
Oh, no. There is going to be one.
There is?
There is.
Oh.
Hey.
Well, I take it all back and then I'm definitely going to watch it.
Christmas is saved.
But this is not secondhand Doctor Who Christmas episode.
No, it's not. It's second-hand haunting. Shall we get on with some hauntings then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good call. The story that we have today is from Con's half. You may recall, it's been a bloomin' long while, that the stories in this book are separated geographically. Mm-hmm. Con's half is basically the north half of Ireland, because that was traditionally ruled by Con of the 100 Battles. Anyway, none of that's important. What is important is this is a story that was written in by a well-known canon in the Diocese of Clogher. He's the guy that wrote this particular story into the newspaper when John Seymour and Harry Neligan were like, hey, send us your ghost stories, please. So you gotta know, it's real, because a priest said it.
That's how it works.
If there's anything we've learned from the last several months, if a priest said it, it's real, right?
Why is that? Oh, from the stories that we've read.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was something that happened on the news. I was like, what?
No.
I must admit, when I was younger, priests did not like me.
Whoa. What?
Yeah, priests definitely didn't seem to like me very much. I had this...
Hang on, I have a few questions and I think I need them answered in order. First question is, how often were you in contact with priests when you were younger?
Well, I was in classes for school, so it was always school. I was always doing religious classes. We had priests that came in and taught religion. I actually had to do special religious classes because someone told them I was Roman Catholic, which I think, as I told you before...
Did you tell them?
No.
Because you've told me before.
No, my family did, which is funny because I've never been baptized, as I've said to you before. Yeah. But they were like, they considered my religion to be Roman Catholic, so I got to put in special Roman Catholic classes, which was fun for everyone. And funnily enough, though, I always thought that Roman Catholics were like super, like it was a popular religion, but our classes were small, like 4 or 5 people.
Yeah, because they only teach it to the people who stick their hands up and say, yeah, I'm Roman Catholic. Can
I
have
didn't
the
do
priest
it.
class, please?
Didn't do it. Anyway.
Anyway.
So I think...
All right, so frequent contact
relatively
with priests.
frequently, yeah.
How many different priests are we talking here?
Oh, maybe like 3 or 4.
Okay.
In different schools,
Enough for a consensus.
Yeah.
And pray tell, what did the priests think of you?
I don't think they liked that I had these incredibly good logical arguments as to why their religion was bullshit.
And you kept going to the...
I didn't have a choice.
Surely you had a choice.
No, you don't have a choice in school. No, you have to keep...
Someone must have said, yeah, put this kid in priest class.
I remember when I went to school in Cairns, we used to have religion as a class, and it was part of our classes.
Was it a private school?
No, it was public school. And I had the same debates. It was, every time they would tell stories, I'd be up the back, putting my hand up, like, well, actually, that doesn't sound right because...
Oh my God. Oh, I love every little bit of Olly backstory we get on this show.
Do you know, one of the terms that I found that people have been using recently for people that have, let's say, they're on different types of spectrums, and
Oh, strap in again, boys and girls.
And one of the terms I feel like has been thrown around a lot recently has been the neurospicy.
What?
Have you heard of that?
No.
So neurospicy.
You know what? I shouldn't laugh because I think I can kind of get what that might mean.
Yeah, so it means like, maybe like a touch of autism, maybe a touch of ADHD, like that type of thing. I feel like I definitely...
Like in a real acute way?
Well, I mean...
No?
I feel like different like neuro traits come out of different people in different ways. I feel like that would be one of the ways that it came out of me as a child. And you probably wouldn't recognize my behavior as a child compared to an adult because I've had a lot of years to,
grow and develop
grow
and
and
get away from priests.
well, sure, sometimes run. No, so grow and develop into, being able to at least mimic being normal, right? But back in the day...
I think we call that masking.
Yeah, right, yeah. I've had some time to work on my masking. But when I was younger, I didn't have the same ability. So I was much more blunt and I was much more unyielding in my opinions.
Okay, I think I've got a fourth question. How old were you?
Oh, well, I would say all the way up until I was 16, 17.
Oh, damn. Oh, wait, hang on. All the way up to... Okay,
well, because we
from when to when?
Yeah, because we had religion classes when I was in primary school, late primary school.
So from 10 to 16?
Something like that, yeah.
Wow.
I'd always been, religion and being jumping up and being well, actually.
Well, good on you for fighting the fight.
Some of those many questions of so if you're saying that we all originated from Adam and Eve, does that mean we're all related? Is it all incest?
It's incest all the way down.
Answer that, weird religious teacher.
Meanwhile, this poor trainee priest is just fuck.
I did see one cry. Not from me, though.
Whoa, no. Okay, come on. Look, this is Christmas. I think we're allowed to have some Christian digressions.
Oh, it was just one.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything, actually. It was in primary school. I probably asked a couple of questions, but it was the whole class got completely unruly. And it was one of those situations where you have the regular teacher and everyone's behaving themselves because they're afraid of the regular teacher, but they have the religious teacher come in and try and control the class, and the class just went nuts.
Got not having it.
And then just started ignoring them, and then just started walking around and doing whatever. And then he was up the front of the class, trying to control the kids, to eventually just breaking down, crying and running out of the room. And it's one of those classic situations where it's the other teacher walks through the door and everyone's just straight into their chairs.
Oh man. Oh. All right, I do feel a little bit sorry for that.
I've had some funny experiences in high school. Did you not have some really crazy experiences in high school?
I mean, I didn't have priests in school.
Really?
No.
Oh, different states, I suppose.
Yeah, what, Queensland for
New
you?
South Wales.
New South Wales.
And Queensland, actually. So, that's funny.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought happened to one of the classes, actually, I wasn't there, but I heard about it. And it's not religious, but I just had this random...
a friend of a friend of yours.
Friend of a friend
just
of mine.
all of these stories.
One thing I did see, I saw a kid light a teacher's hair on fire.
What?
And I also saw...
A priest or just another teacher? You know what? Move on.
Another teacher. And I also heard of someone putting a bag of flour on one of the fans, and then when they turned it on, it covered the room in flour.
No, they didn't.
I heard they did.
No.
Boulder Dash.
Cool. You know what? I don't know why. I buy their hair on fire, but I don't buy the kid has brought a bag of flour into school specifically to stick on a fan. I
saw the kid light the teacher's hair on fire. That was in music class.
What instrument did that?
No, it was a kid, like a stoner kid.
I didn't think it was one of the straight edge kids.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that kid got expelled.
Yeah, for Michael Jacksoning a teacher.
I heard about that. I saw that clip just the other day. It's funny. It's funny you should relate it. Yeah, that's
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? A little bit.
I mean, she was fine. It's she had long hair, and they put it out straight away.
Okay,
but it happens.
Jesus. All right. So that's probably a perfect transition to talk about something else that definitely happened, eh?
Yeah, we read books or something, don't we?
I think so. Yeah, we do. Given that this episode is coming out on Christmas Eve, this is a story from that same day.
Do you have any sound effects machines? We can throw in some reindeer or something. Reindeer, I mean bells.
I can edit some in. On Christmas Eve, 1885. I'm not going to bother doing math to figure out how long ago that was.
More than 100.
Absolutely. My attention was directed by my cook to a curious noise. somewhat like a heavily laden wagon passing close to a rather rickety house would make. I don't know if it's the cook who's described the sound that way, or the canon who's described it that way.
The canon?
Yes. So this story is related by a canon of the Diocese of Clower, I did honestly expect more questions about when I read that sentence the first time. But a canon is a specific rank of clergyman.
Right, okay.
A diocese is like an area of religious control, rule, influence.
Rule.
And Clower is the name of that particular area that he's in charge of.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's the canon is rank.
Yes. A fairly high one. A canon is in charge of a whole diocese.
Right. Would we say that a diocese is also the building? Like they would all be housed in the same building?
No, it's more like saying it's like a county.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because when you originally said cook, I was thinking, oh, here's another rich homeowner that is talking about ghosts. But
oh, you noticed that, did you?
But it's but in this case, it's a priest.
Correct. So he probably doesn't own the home. The church does, and they let him live in it and pay all of his cook's expenses.
And the gardeners.
And the butlers. And the cleaners. And the, what was it, charwomen? Call back to episode 3. I don't know why I'm in a callback competition with you now. At first, I gave but little heed to her alarm. To be quite candid, I suspected the presence of a tipsy sweetheart. And it being festive season, I did not want to know everything.
Because the festive season, it's when they get down.
I think this particular canon has risen to that rank by knowing exactly when and when not to ask questions of the people around him.
When people get rowdy and, you know, start playing...
Celebrating.
Start playing Where's the Ladle?
Oh, God!
Sorry.
Which?
Hide the ladle.
Which end?
Oh, hopefully it's the...
the end of that digression. However, the woman's manner betokened sincerity and genuine fear of something. So I called my manservant. I was joking about the butler earlier, but apparently there is one.
It seems odd to think of a priest with a manservant. I don't know, it feels unholy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I kind of get what you mean.
I mean, like, isn't it like a vow of
Whoa. He doesn't serve him in that way.
I was going to say vow of poverty.
Oh, no, not in Catholicism.
Oh, okay.
Good God, no, man.
Is that just Christianity?
That's...
It's definitely some... I think someone has a vow of poverty, I swear.
Monks, hermits... But if your title is Canon, no.
No, canons have a manservant.
Yes. To help him dress in the mornings. And undress in the evening. No, sorry, moving on.
You said it wasn't that.
And we descended, a dauntless 3, to the kitchen. Arrived there, we found the vibrating noise to increase strongly. Yes, Olly?
What? I didn't say anything.
Merry Christmas. It's a vibrating noise that sounds like a very heavily laden wagon passing to a rather rickety house. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A rowdy ghost.
This is the book that gave us Coney, don't... reserve judgment. And the whole basement of the house to be in a condition suggestive of the working of an earthquake, but without any of the furniture or dishes being moved in or in any way disturbed.
Just certain items vibrating.
Well, the whole room vibrating, but the items within not. So I don't think we could possibly make that dirty at all, could we? Don't try.
All I was going to say is that I could make anything dirty.
The past several months have proved that.
I can always rise to that challenge.
Stop it. 2 brilliant lamps. One on the wall and the other on the table in the middle of the rather small kitchen afforded light almost as clear as daylight. He's having a bit of a swipe at the fact that the kitchen is a little bit small for some reason. Totally unnecessary. Apparently this Canon wants to move up in the world.
Well, it's not like he has to do anything in the kitchen, right?
No. Yeah, why is he complaining?
Just looking out for his manservant and his cook.
Sure. Yeah, all right, I'll pay that. Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to be sarcastic, but that's fine.
He wants the absolute best for his employees. I mean, the people who are employed by his employer. Colleagues? I bet he thinks of them as colleagues.
Oh, any wealthy employer in the same sort of position probably does, right?
Yeah. Till one of them ups and shoots you on a New York street. Anyway.
Wowza.
We three stood in amazement at what was, without any visible cause, going on around us. The servants literally clinging to me, one on either side. The noise suddenly ceased, both as regards our immediate vicinity and its hitherto rumbling character, while a pantry right in front of which we stood became the scene of fresh disturbances. If you need a moment to figure out what the hell he's saying, basically the vibration stopped and the pantry started. And no jokes about vibrations in pantries.
Well, you've knocked out all of my material.
There, it seemed as if china, dishes, and glass were being thrown with tremendous violence on the flagged floor.
Well, we've got a poltergeist.
Yep. Gee, if only there was someone in the vicinity who could perhaps try and exorcise this poltergeist. Do you think he does? I've legitimately forgotten this story. I read it months and months and months ago.
Well, it'd be shocking if you didn't. At least, throw some holy water around or something.
Yeah, right? As a canon, you should probably have something to do. Canon should be at least troubleshooting.
Do you think he's, at the very least, shouting, demon, demon, get out forth thou?
I can see some quotation marks further down the page, so I hope so. We'll see what happens, though. As soon as each crash resounded in our ears, the terrified domestics clung with intense fervour to my arms. I think this is this guy's fanfic, isn't it?
I like how we call them domestics.
Yeah, that's very 1885. Convinced now of the fact that some game was being played on me, of which my servants were the sharers, if not the actual devisers, I resolved to open the pantry door, which was locked but had the key in it, and investigate the mystery.
Oh my god, I hope that was what actually happened.
If such it should prove to be. Sorry, I had to get through that whole sentence.
That's
that man is as liberal with commas as he is with denigrations to his servants.
I'm just saying, I wish that was what was happening. That servants had tied strings to glasses and they were pulling them.
Good old Christmas pranks.
We'll show this priest some demons. What if he was a terrible employer?
I have no trouble believing that, given the way he's talking about his employees.
I'm just going to pause there for a second.
Sure. Would you like a little refresher before we kick back into things? Then?
Yeah, that'd be great.
This Canon, this very high up priest who has at least a cook and a manservant, felt the basement rumbling, but nothing in the basement rumbling. Then they went downstairs and they both clung to him, and then the rumbling stopped.
They clung to him?
They clung to him, one upon each arm. And then the pantry started rumbling, and plates and things smashing in there.
So we're in the basement with the priest with the candlestick. No.
Yes.
Like Cluedo.
with the brilliant lamps, in fact.
Okay, so the priest in the basement with the brilliant lamp.
Yep.
That is the killer. But, it's funny. I'm just trying to imagine. It feels like something out of an actual movie when you've got the priest and you've got the manservant on the left-hand side and the cook on the right-hand side clinging to the priest's arm.
Yeah.
Save me, priest.
This is absolutely a story that's been written by the priest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't clinging to the priest. They were hard, guys from the streets working their way up through manservanting and cooking.
Hard men.
From the streets. Well, life must have been tough back then.
Yeah. Except for this guy's life. Anyway.
Oh, definitely not this guy's life. Wakes up, gets dressed by somebody else.
Yep. Goes and tells a bunch of people that, God loves them.
And that's all we've got time for today.
So anyway, he's going over to the pantry because the key is still in the lock, and he's going to go and open it to investigate the mystery.
Mm-hmm.
But my suggestion simply threw my panic-stricken companions almost into fits, and they implored me not to do so. I replied to them, "Yes, in God's name I will open the door, and if you two are too cowardly to follow me, I shall go in by myself and discover the secret of all the confusion." Accordingly, I made a quick and very energetic movement toward the scene of the mysterious noise, when slowly the locked door of the pantry opened.
Click.
And out glided a tall female figure,
No.
dressed in loose white dress, with a short black cape around her shoulders.
Super Ghost.
1885's Power Ghost.
Able to throw glasses across the room
In a single heave. Is it a bowl? Is it a plate? No, it's Super Ghost. I was literally paralyzed with fright. My now almost frantic servants gripped me by each arm as in a vice.
They're still gripping, huh?
Yep. Causing me intense pain and, as it subsequently turned out, leaving marks of their grips for many days on the fleshy part of my arms.
So you're telling me that someone bruises that easily is going to save them from a ghost?
I've suddenly realised that I think this whole story is him trying to explain why he's got bruises on his arms somewhere around the holidays.
It wasn't the S&M party. It was a ghost, I swear. Do you know, I made fun of the cape, but if I'm being honest, I would love if capes were fashionable.
Oh, I fucking want capes to come back, man.
I would be great. I would wear a cape. I would actually, I'd really love to be able to wear a cape with like a hood and not look like a crazy person.
A criminal?
Yeah. Well, no, but like, you know, like,
ready to shoot someone on a New York street.
like, you know, those, okay. But like, you know, those capes out of like Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of those.
I think that might be the difference between a cape and a cloak.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure.
No, I guess I'm thinking more of a cloak. But either way,
Yeah,
capes,
I dig it.
I'd still do a cape as well. I just also like the addition of a hood. I feel like if we could bring them both back.
Yeah. Now, in Australia, that might be a difficult ask.
Oh, it's not going to happen.
But in Ireland in the 1880s, feels about right.
I actually have seen a company try and do it. They've been trying to bring back in capes.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you like to give them a plug?
I can't remember the name of them, sorry.
Okay.
Look for their link in the description. No,
I'm not doing that. Don't look for it. If you want a cape, you can obtain a cape.
Our sponsor is now capes.com.
Oh, I wish we had a sponsor. No, I don't. What am I talking about? Independent for life and death. It was to this sharp physical pain I attribute the passing away of the feeling of faintness caused by the apparition, and the restoration to a state of comparative coolness. So I think that means they were holding him so hard that the pain kept him, like, awake and alert rather than fainting like he wanted to. I rushed after the figure, which continued to move toward the stairs, which, as soon as she had reached, she vanished from sight.
Do you think it's one of these situations? I can't remember. You were talking about him before. What was the name of the slippery ghost character?
Corny.
Corny. Do you remember Corny?
Yeah.
And do you remember
I'll never forget Corny.
Do you remember
Episode 8, ladies and gentlemen.
Do you remember how we joked that Corny was potentially just some random person that was like living in the house?
I'm 100% sure he was, yes.
Well, I'm wondering if this was just some random girl living in the house.
In the pantry.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, nothing up until this point has actually led me to believe that this is an actual ghost.
She seems too well dressed to be a pantry dweller to me.
To be fair, at first I thought it was a ghost. I thought poltergeist for sure. Now I'm thinking, she was just in the pantry throwing some stuff.
Yeah. She might not be a superhero. She might be a supervillain with a grudge against crockery.
Do you think when she emerges from the pantry, do they actually check to see whether or not she's like translucent, like actually looks like a ghost? Or do they see like a full-grown person and think to themselves, surely a ghost?
Well, she glided.
Oh, okay. My bad. All right, take it all back. You have proved me wrong, sir.
Look, I guess...
Ghost she is. Glides away.
Some people can move in a glide, especially if they're wearing a long dress that covers their feet. Like ballet dancers and stuff know how to sort of glide across the stage, right? Russian dancers certainly know that.
You know what? I'm done. Ghost, she glided. She glided
I think the more telling
inches
thing...
from the floor.
The more telling thing is her vanishing and also potentially opening a locked door, but, why am I arguing for this?
No, you've convinced me.
I'm still 100% sure that this is just a story conjured up by the priest to explain bruises on his arms and the presence of a mysterious, well-dressed woman in his closet. Scarcely had she done so, vanished, when my two little boys at the top of the house, 3 stories higher than where I stood, screamed out, "There is a woman in white in the room with us!"
Oh my god. So he has kids, probably has a wife?
Yeah, this is just more evidence to the fact that he's trying to explain the bruises and the woman, right?
I mean...
Because here's the thing, I believe canons, they are allowed to marry. Like, they're allowed to have a family, it's no problem there.
It wasn't a random woman, my love. It was a ghost.
I don't think this is the first time on this show where potentially somebody's just trying to explain some tryst they've had with, oh, it's a ghost, right?
Do you think maybe he was the only person that saw her vanish?
Well, she certainly reappeared. So she may
later.
not have vanished at all. I get what you mean, though. Yeah, if we had grilled the cook and the manservant, what would they have said?
Yeah.
She vanished up the stairs.
Did she maybe, vanish out the window and down the trestle?
I literally fled up to the boys' room, followed by my 2 sharers of the vision. I assume that means the cook and the manservant. On arriving there, I closely questioned the children. The eldest, aged 10, told me he had lain awake to watch for Santa Claus. Oh, that's right, this is a Christmas story.
I mean, I completely forgot. But I saw Mrs. Claus.
Hey. But instead of the genial old children's friend, he saw a strange lady who just glided into the room and out again.
Why was Mrs. Claus so scandally dressed?
This sounds like a riddle. Like, this would come out of a Christmas cracker, wouldn't it? Why was Mrs. Claus so scantily dressed? Because it was time for her pudding.
Daddy, I think Santa's very lucky.
Boys, back to bed. You know Santa comes tonight.
If you didn't mean that as a double entendre, you absolutely should have.
Look into my eyes and tell me if I meant that.
Oh, that was the best one so far.
Yeah, that's what this priest said after Mrs. Claus... No, anyway. Anyway, she
did
glided...
what she knows to do well. No, anyway, sorry.
What?
Nothing.
I think we've already made a joke about he knows who's been naughty, right? Anyway, she glided into the room and out again.
For the record, it's him.
The priest has been naughty, yes.
Priest has been naughty.
So she was leaving no toys nor any other trace of her presence. Every place was searched without avail, but no token of our strange visitor was found. The pantry door was still locked, and on it being opened, no sign of anything having been disturbed was discoverable. So I guess all the plates and stuff were not smashed? Since then, the same visitant has been seen by myself, by other members of the family, and by visitors. So she comes around a lot, does she?
Bet you she does.
She comes around Christmas Eve, Easter Eve, New Year's Eve, Passover Eve.
Definitely Passover.
Anyway, I'm saying her name is Eve. Nothing dreadful has been observed as happening in connection with her visits. I have selected the above instance of these appearances because 1. It was the first time anyone would admit they had seen anything. 2. Because I myself was a principal witness of it. And 3. Because it was seen by at least 4 persons. My 2 servants, my 10-year-old boy, and myself, at practically the same moment. At the other times, some of us have seen it alone. I do not pretend to explain anything about these appearances, but solemnly do I declare that all I have said is a plain, unvarnished tale of facts within my own experience. The end.
Oh, is that all?
That is all.
Oops, sorry.
That's okay. There is another 2-page story from the same guy, though.
Oh, okay.
If you want it, we can do it.
I'm happy to jump in.
Yeah, okay. No, so before we move on to the second of this man's stories, do you want to discuss anything about the one we've just listened to?
It was tough to pick an MVP.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah.
I do have one.
I do too.
Okay.
But you go first.
All right. My MVP for the story is his 10-year-old son who has seen what's happening. He's seen, Dad's mistress is here again. I'm going to go with it. I thought Santa was here, but it wasn't. Yeah, that's what happened.
I'm going to go with the mistress.
We're both.
And particularly going to go with the mistress because I feel like she's bringing capes back.
Okay.
Or, I mean, maybe not bringing capes back considering the time, but I'm giving her style props for rocking the cape.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Well, she's got to be nice and warm when she goes back outside in the middle of winter, because this is Christmas Eve, back to her own home, presumably, maybe.
And also for having been shoved in a cupboard while he's hiding her away from the rest of the staff.
That cook and that manservant.
What
were they doing?
Should we give them props for just like pretending that the mistress was a ghost?
Do you think they both individually knew what was going on?
Absolutely.
That their employer was having a little thing on the side, but they didn't know that each other knew. So when this woman appeared, they both had to pretend it was a ghost just in case.
Everything in this story for me has pointed towards him having this elaborate cover-up for his mistress.
Yeah.
And he's gotten everybody else involved to pretend like that was what was happening until at the very least go along with the story.
Yeah.
Which is just hilarious. And
can't nobody say that the Catholic Church is not powerful and influential.
So as far as I can tell, everything in this story is all about covering up for his actual wife.
Good point. I don't know if she exists. She might not. She may have died in childbirth or something.
Right, okay.
She
so
could be locked up in a insane asylum. She could have been the woman.
So maybe someone saw the woman running away from the property and they've come up with this elaborate ghost story.
Is this the gender-flipped version of I Saw Mummy Kissing Santa Claus?
That was funny. But yes, for me, definitely the mistress. Yeah. And for you...
The kid.
Good
on that kid. He's getting some extra Christmas presents that year.
Definitely.
All right, heck, why not? While we're here, let's do a little extra bonus one. This is another story from that same canon, from the Diocese of Clower. It is decidedly mystifying and refers to a rectory in County Donegal. It is sent as the experience of one of the percipients, who does not wish to have his name disclosed. Oh, hang on, maybe it's not. I thought these were both stories from the same guy. Sorry, let me double check that. I've just double checked the context of this because I've omitted some of it for brevity's sake. It is the same guy, as far as I can tell. It's the same canon, but he does not wish his name to be disclosed. He says, my wife, children, and myself will have lived here 4 years next January in 1914. So he does have a wife.
Told you.
Yeah. From the first night that we came into the house, most extraordinary noises had been heard. Sometimes they were inside the house, and seemed as if the furniture was being disturbed, and the fire irons knocked about, or at other times as if a dog was running up and down the stairs. Sometimes they were external, and resembled tin buckets being dashed about the yard, or as if a herd of cattle was galloping up the drive before the windows. These things would go on for 6 months, and then everything would be quiet for 3 months or so, when the noises would commence again. My dogs, a fox terrier, a boarhound, and a spaniel, would make a terrible din and would bark at something in the hall we could not see, backing away from it all the time. Now, I hadn't heard of a boarhound before.
Me either.
So I looked it up, and it's just another name for a Great Dane.
I used to have a miniature fox terrier.
Aw, cute. But I think we might have discovered the source of the, quote, dog running up and down stairs inside the house, right? It might be one of the dogs in the house.
Well, I did think that it was interesting that he referred to the noises as being seasonal.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah. It's almost like there is a season where people are doing things outside.
What? I'm on board with what you're saying, but apparently the noises happen for 6 months and then go quiet for 3 and then happen for 6 and then quiet for 3.
Right,
so
okay.
It doesn't
so
quite...
it doesn't track, right? Yeah. It's interesting that it's a pattern.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
who knows how accurate he is with his month tracking. But...
Could be part of this like ultimate plot to still back up the claim of the previous ghost.
This family is haunted.
I swear, love.
No, I haven't got a 4th dog.
Don't
There's
call
only
her
3 bitches in this house.
I was going to say, don't call her a dog.
The only thing that was ever seen was as follows. One night, my daughter... Oh, he's got a daughter as well. Okay. Went down to the kitchen about 10 o'clock for some hot water. She saw a tall man. I know, we were both hoping for woman, weren't we? So was the Canon. Oh, hello. She saw a tall man with one arm carrying a lamp.
Conjures up visions of, sailors for me, which I know it's not because we're not at sea, but I don't know, like one-armed carrying a lantern at night.
Yeah. Well,
Peg leg.
if you were to guess based on any previous experience you might have over the last hour or so, where would you say this tall, one-armed man carrying a lamp is seen?
Basement. Kitchen.
Who walked out of the pantry,
pantry.
into the kitchen.
Pantry. She said pantry.
Why is this guy hiding people in pantries?
It is an odd fetish.
And then through the kitchen wall.
Taking confessions with food.
I mean, if he's just secretly distributing food to unfortunate people.
Don't be like that. It makes it sound wholesome. I wasn't going for wholesome. I was thinking something along the lines of swapping sexual favours for food.
Oh, no.
One arm's still good.
Oh, no.
Too much? Too far?
Just right. Okay.
I can tell you I definitely don't share links to these episodes with people from work. Anyone else is fine. Anyone else is fair game.
You know the unfortunate thing, my boss has started listening.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Another daughter saw the same man walk down one evening from the loft and go into the harness room.
The harness room?
The harness room.
Okay.
Um,
What's the harness room?
I didn't look this one up.
I'm going to guess it's probably where they put like harnesses for horses and stuff, right?
I think that's probably my assumption, yes.
Do you remember there used to be a room in houses, I'm not sure if they still do it, but there used to be like a dirt room or a dirty room? Do you know?
You mean a mud room?
Yeah, mud room.
Yeah, I still have that in plenty of places.
Yeah. Good feature, actually, I think.
So I've just Googled The Harness Room, and it's a novel by L.P. Hartley. 3.5 out of 5 on Goodreads.
Well, there's a plug.
All it wants to give me is the book.
Or you can follow our affiliate link. I'm kidding.
www.harnessroom.com. It really does sound like the successor to Ashley Madison or something, doesn't it?
I've been really trying not to derail the second story. I've been really trying to like very focused on not derailing the second story. But did you hear about Mattel releasing dolls with a website on the packaging that actually linked to a porn site?
Yes, I had heard that.
I thought that was very funny.
Yeah. Forget the specifics of it, but it's
they were selling dolls for the new Wicked movie.
Oh no!
And
that's right.
And the website for the movie is like wickedmovie.com, but what they were putting on the packaging was just wicked.com. Which it seems like a simple oversight, but
but an important one.
But a very important one.
On a kid's toy.
In a kid's toy.
Oh dear.
I heard they were like trying to sue them for something.
Either way, we can probably ask one of these kids what a harness room is and get an answer.
That's why you don't outsource your QA, people.
She told me, and I went out immediately, but could see nobody. Shortly after that, my wife, who is very brave, heard a knock at the hall door in the dusk. Naturally, thinking it was some friend, she opened the door, and there, standing outside, the selfsame man. He simply looked at her and walked through the wall into the house.
All right, that does sound like a ghost, and the account was from the wife, which I'm more inclined to trust at this point.
Really?
No?
Why did the ghost knock on the door then if he can just walk through a wall?
Attention seeker?
He's already got one arm. What more attention does he want?
Well, someone has to see him with one arm. Like,
she got such a shock that she could not speak for several hours and was ill for some days. That is 18 months ago, and he has not been seen since. And it is 6 months since we last heard any noises.
Do you think he was trying to tell her about the mistress?
Yeah, maybe.
But
maybe they had a little conversation at the door before he disappeared.
No, I was thinking more like he was a ghost. He saw the mistress. He tried to tell the wife about it, but couldn't talk because, like, you know, he didn't have that ghostly ability.
Because he was mute and he only had one hand, so he couldn't do sign language.
Yeah, and then just kind of drifted off into a wall out of frustration.
That's a lot of assumptions for a story that is denying the existence of the first ghost.
It was loosely put together.
Your theory or this story?
Both.
Or the harnesses.
That's why there's ghosts.
Oh no. And only one arm.
Did that take a little bit to try to track, you know, like
it took a second.
Yeah. No.
Oh dear.
It was my best work.
Sounds like the Catholic Church. Our correspondence letter, the Canon, we assume, was written on 25th November 1913. The letter continues. An old man, nearly 90, died last year. He lived all his life within 400 yards of this house. That is very specific. I guess it must be the size of the village. I didn't look up how big 400 yards is, but it's about 400 metres. So half a kilometre?
I'm going to look that up right now. 400 yards. Pretty much the same. It's 365 metres. I never even knew what a yard was before until now, so there we go.
A yard is 3 feet.
Apparently.
A foot is almost a third of a metre.
What a fun arbitrary measurement system that is.
Yay!
Yeah.
So he lived all his life within 400 yards of his house, and used to tell me that 70 years ago, the parsons came with bell, book, and candle to drive the ghosts out of the house. Evidently, they were unsuccessful.
Lols.
In English ghost stories, it is the parson who performs the exorcism successfully, while in Ireland, such work is generally performed by the priest. Indeed, a tale was sent to us in which a ghost quite ignored the parson's efforts, but succumbed to the priest. I don't know which story that is, and that's the end of that whole chapter, and that was...
Is that done? Have we done?
The end.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was just thinking, like, that must be a hell of a racket, running around, exercising ghosts.
Causing ghosts, exercising. Cause the haunting, solve the haunting.
Do they cause the haunting?
I don't know.
All right, no, I just meant, like,
That's something. What is that? That's The Frighteners.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I have seen The Frighteners, and I do know that storyline of causing the haunting and then coming around and solving the haunting.
Yeah, except in that, the ghosts are actually legit and real.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
MVP?
Yeah, MVP of this last little bizarre addendum to our Christmas episode. Tough, isn't it?
I've got one.
Go on, then.
The wife for putting up with this bullshit.
Yes. Yeah, fully 100% agreed. The wife for existing and staying with this man who has clearly got so many hang-ups.
At the very least, not being like, I'm sure at some point she was like, Canon, because I don't know what his name was. Yeah. Like, Canon, why can't we move? Like surely...
Well, they did. These are about two different houses that both happen to be haunted by this guy's sexual... I mean, the ghosts of the past.
So maybe he's running around, like, killing people and they're coming back to haunt him. Killed his mistress, killed this one-armed bandit.
Oh, he is a one-armed bandit. I wonder if this is a metaphor for gambling.
Is that when
I don't think so. What?
He would be a thief, right? Like they cut people's hands off if they were thieves.
A one-armed bandit is a pokey machine.
Oh, okay.
Because it steals your money and it's got one arm.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. My bad.
That's all right.
I know now.
That's fine. I don't expect you to be up on early 20th century lingo for gambling.
I do think they are the devil's work.
Yeah.
If there was a devil.
Such is this canon.
I'm not sure if it's necessarily like a good or bad thing to do, but I've recently started a trait which I think is funny, but it might become sad at some point.
Oh.
Where I've recently been joking around that, when you like say like thank God.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've started to thank the Morning Star or thank Lucifer.
Oh, okay. Oh, fun.
I've just started kind of like working that into my vocabulary, like it's like, oh, thank Lucifer. We got here on time.
Well.
Goddamn God.
Curse God, hail Satan.
That's the one.
All right. Is that us signing off for the night then?
Well, I think we'll get like a certain type of viewership from that.
I
think that was what I was aiming for all along, though. So
I think we've been inexorably drawn towards this exact demographic this entire time. And we've just been getting dirtier and dirtier until we get there. So, God knows what's going to happen next fortnight. Because my wife's joining us. For a bunch more smut on... Second-Hand Haunting.